Imagine a battle between two of the most powerful fallen Jedi who became darkseid incarnates. One who ruled through fear by enforcing his dictatorship across a galaxy, the other conquered through brilliance. This is a battle between Darth Vader, the chosen one who later went on to lead the dark side, versus Darth Revan, who mastered both the light and the dark side. So let's start off with a bit of context. Part 1. Revan. Starting with Revan. If you're not familiar with him, Revan was a Jedi during the Old Republic era, which is literally 4,000 years before Luke Skywalker was even born. During his time as a Jedi, Revan watched the Mandalorians burn entire Outer Rim worlds while the Jedi Council sat frozen, refusing to intervene out of fear of another galactic war. But Revan ignored the Council orders, gathered thousands of Jedi who believed the Republic would fall without them, and formed a movement called the Revanchists to take the fight directly to the Mandalorians, which he absolutely dominated and also single-handedly defeated Mandalore in the ultimate, ending the greatest warrior culture in the galaxy. However, this was part of the plot for his fall. You see, after defeating the Mandalorians, Revan, alongside Alec, who later on became Darth Malak, chased the Mandalorian remnants into a place called the Unknown Regions, where he discovered an ancient Sith empire older than the Republic itself. And at its center, the spirit of a very powerful Sith emperor that had to drain life from entire planets to survive, Vitiate was there. Revan confronted Vitiate, but the Emperor, Vitiate, overpowered both of them in the Force, remade them into Sith Lords under his control, then sent them to conquer the Republic. However, Revan was too strong and eventually broke free from Vitiate's control. But by then, the corruption had taken hold, so Revan fully embraced the Sith identity and began his own conquest against the Republic. Now, this was what made him really terrifying, since he was the only Force user in history to truly master both sides of the Force simultaneously. Bro could wield abilities like Force Lightning, Drain, Domination from the dark side, and with the same ease, used light side techniques like Heal and Protection. He could also absorb and redirect energy with Tu Dominus, like in the battle where he caught Darth Nihilus' lightning and sent it straight back at her, reducing her to ash. But there is more to his abilities. Revan is capable of large-scale battlefield influence with his battle meditation by boosting his allies' morale, coordination, combat effectiveness. And with his pre-recognition, Revan could also sense attacks a few seconds or minutes ahead. Though in duels Revan was more efficient, not flashy, he used Form 6, which is the hybrid style, a balance between offense, defense, and Force integration. Even down to his lightsaber techniques, he could dual wield or blend a lightsaber with Force attacks, turning the environment itself into a weapon. Finally, let's talk about some of Revan's feats. He's actually got a lot stacked up from the defeat of Mandalore the Ultimate, the greatest general of the Mandalorian Neo-Crusaders who united thousands of clans and waged a war against the Republic itself, which the Republic won with the help of Revan, creation of a Sith holocron, which is a massive feat on its own, because only the most powerful and disciplined Force users can even make one. Holocrons require perfect control of the Force, deep knowledge of Sith sorcery, and the ability to bind your consciousness into an eternal recording. Revan's holocron was so advanced that Darth Bane, the Sith who rebuilt the entire Sith Order, studied it as one of his primary sources of dark-side knowledge. Survival of centuries of mental imprisonment under Emperor Vitiate, and a will so unyielding it defied one of the strongest Sith minds in history. Then there's Darth Vader, or rather, Anakin Skywalker. Anakin was prophesied to be the chosen one, believed to bring balance to the Force, and by the end of the Clone Wars, he was already seen as the Republic's greatest general.
But everything changed when he began to have visions of Padme dying in childbirth. Visions that felt as real as the ones he had of his mother, Shmi Skywalker, before she died, leaving him vulnerable, which then gave Chancellor Palpatine, who was secretly Darth Sidious, the chance to become close with Anakin and manipulate his thoughts against the Jedi Council, by convincing him that the Jedi were plotting to take control of the Republic and that the only way to save Padme was through the dark side of the Force. Eventually, when the Jedi moved to arrest Palpatine after Anakin made a report that Palpatine was a Sith, Anakin made his choice. He cut off Mace Windu's hand, choosing Sidious over the Jedi, and allowed Sidious to kill Mace Windu. At that moment, Anakin Skywalker fell, and Darth Vader was born.
leading to several events where he was nearly killed by Obi-Wan on Mustafar, then reconstructed by Palpatine in his iconic black armor. This was how he unlocked his full dark side potential, through every pain he'd suffered from. Vader is literally rage incarnated, meaning his connection to the Force is fueled by pain, loss, hatred, and unlike most Sith, Vader's suffering never ends, because his suit was deliberately designed to keep him in pain, so he stays connected to the dark side. Vader's actually got several abilities too, like telekinesis, which he's absolutely monstrous with. During the siege of the Tantive 4, Vader tore through blast doors. On Vardos, he crashed entire rebel squads with a single gesture, slamming them into walls. Even in combat, he's thrown massive cargo containers, pulled down catwalks, and hurled stormtroopers. But that's just scratching the surface. In Legends, he's halted ships in mid-air, brought down starfighters with the Force. He even collapsed structures around himself in moments of rage. And then there's his most iconic abilities, Force Choke and Telekinesis. These abilities gave Vader total dominance. You see, Vader can sense fear, betrayal, doubt from miles away, as well as read minds, implant thoughts, and crush wills with telepathy, which helps him in mental and physical dominance. Physically, Vader's suit is his greatest strength and his greatest weakness. See, it keeps him alive, but it's vulnerable to forced lightning, a flaw which Sidious built in deliberately as a form of insurance. Even so, Vader has still survived a lot of crazy things. The vacuum of space, massive explosions. He also withstood Sidious's forced lightning, which could have killed him. And about his lightsaber technique, he couldn't use Anakin's acrobatic Form 5 anymore, because his cybernetics made him heavier and slower. So he adapted by turning Form 5 into something brutal. Though his strikes were slower than they were more relentless, he no longer wasted energy on flair during fights, just raw power and strength. And with it, he fought and slew Jedi Masters, survived ambushes by entire groups of knights, matched opponents like Ahsoka Tano and Obi-Wan Kenobi in brutal duels, and in Star Wars Purge, he even cut down 8 Jedi in a single confrontation. Now, after we've established their backstories and abilities, who'd actually win? That's the question that's left. Let's break that down into 5 categories. Category 1, Raw Power. Vader clearly has the edge here. Even after Mustafar, the power inside him is terrifying, to be honest, and considering he channels the dark side from pure fury and focus, Revan isn't even close. Also in canon, he's second only to Sidious himself, and in Legends, he's said to wield most of his master's power. So yeah, Revan's strength is immense, but it comes from control, not raw power, unlike Vader's. Category 2, Speed and Agility. Revan takes this one, because his precognition, reflexes, and lighter armor let him strike and evade faster than Vader. Category 3, Special Abilities. Revan also dominates here. I mean, he's able to master abilities from both sides of the Force, while Vader's limited to few of the dark side abilities. Category 4, Fighting IQ. Revan is simply one of the greatest tacticians in Star Wars history, and with the help of his precognition, he's got the fighting and tactical advantage over Vader, who fights only with brute force. Vader's just a warrior, not a strategist like Revan. Category 5, Lightsaber Technique. This is tough. Vader has the raw power and relentless pressure. Once he gets close, he's nearly impossible to escape. Revan has the finesse, adaptability, unpredictability, and he can switch styles mid-fight, dual wield, use the environment, and integrate force powers seamlessly. In a pure saber duel with no force, Vader probably wins through strength and pressure. But if Revan can use his full toolkit, he has the edge. Overall, if we go by pure stats in a straightforward fight, Revan wins. His versatility, force mastery, tactical mind, and speed give him way too many chances to win. However, when Vader wins, it's not even close. Because Vader's rage is his weapon. The angrier he gets, the stronger he becomes. So if Revan pushes Vader into a corner, Vader might tap into a level of power that just breaks through everything. And his endurance is absurd. He survived everything, from lava flows to planetary bombardments. If he endures Revan's opening barrage, closes the distance, and locks him in close quarters combat, his precision and raw force could end the fight then and there. Although, Vader's suit is vulnerable to force lightning, but Revan might not know that. If he does, Vader has fought through lightning before. It hurts him, but it doesn't stop him immediately. Even Revan's psychological tactics can backfire if he tries it in the fight. Vader's mind is forged in torment. It'll be hard to shake someone who lives every second in pain. And if this fight happens on the dark side nexus like Mustafar or Malachor 5, Vader gets massively amped. His connection to the dark side would skyrocket. Revan could use a nexus too, but Vader thrives in dark environments. Revan is more balanced between forces. That could be a disadvantage. So at the end of the day, in a standard fight, Revan wins 6 out of 10 times. His versatility, force mastery, and tactical genius give him too many paths to victory. But if Vader survives long enough to tap into a full dark side rage amp, he wins 4 out of 10 times. And if you want to really see what the dark side can do, we covered every Sith ability used in Star Wars.